Marcell Strbich and his wife Nicole live in Dayton and have 3 children. In raising their children, they are guided by their faith to love God, country, and Ohio, and uphold traditional values throughout their lives. Marcell served his country for 20 years as an Air Force intelligence officer and had served in a variety of leadership positions during his military career. He's a combat veteran and was deployed 5 times during Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom, flying 117 missions and over 1,200 combat hours in positions supporting worldwide counterterrorism operations.
Well,
In 2017, he was assigned to the Pentagon, where he advised the Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staffs on weapons system upgrades. Over his 20 years, he received 15 decorations and awards. Upon leaving the military, he has dedicated himself to be a full-time Ohio statewide election integrity advocate, legislative proponent, and policy advisor. Marcell is a mission-focused, results-driven leader committed to reforming electoral processes, making Ohio the beacon of election integrity for the nation to follow. And I get to call him a good friend.
Thank you, everybody. This is a group. I really like this setting. It's really intimate. You get a chance to talk. It's not every time you get a chance to kind of talk. And I've enjoyed our conversations with Julie, her son who's serving in our Navy, giving everything he's got in the last 12 years out there, keeping us safe. This is a big time for him. Susan Keller and I were just chatting a little bit. She was giving me a sense of the lay of the land and helping me get, to understand kind of the climate we're in. And she's a committed issue advocate for her areas. And so that's what we're all doing, every one of us here, from Mr. Healy and others. I know we're going to talk a little bit more, and Sheila Oxford. This is a great group. So thank you for inviting me here to China Belt. And I want to tell you a little bit about myself, what I've experienced and what I've been working on for us in Ohio, for our families, to ensure that the election systems that we have been given are safeguarded, and that we don't slide any further, and that we restore that which we slid in the last few years in terms of verifying properly eligibility, in terms of the security of our systems. Really, it's about accountability. And when you look at what's happening across our country and our society, and you try to diagnose, like, where are the issues, right? Issues are always in the area of the public being engaged. You need to have public oversight of everything, right? Because that's what keeps us a constitutional republic, is we have to be engaged, and we have to push for that. And accountability. And that's something that's hard to come by, because a lot of folks that have come into positions of authority have kind of walked that line in a very light way. And that's important that we get back to holding people accountable from ourselves first, because we're accountable to ourselves, our loved ones, our families. We're accountable to our friends, right? That's the strength of our society. So the bedrock is, it starts with our family, and then through our faith community, and then through these community groups, we grow our strength from there. I got my start in a very modest working family. My parents came to the United States in 1970 from Europe. My mother and father had to escape a communist system in Europe that was very repressive toward people of faith. And they were really interested in coming to America to exercise their freedoms, their liberties, and to also work hard. And they did, and they raised their 3 children. We grew up in a restaurant business. That business is something that I've had the pleasure of working and serving people, so that's why I'm more people-oriented, I think, than most, because that's just the way I grew up, and that's what was expected in my family, in being able to serve other people. And so it was easy for me after 9/11 to go into the military and to serve our country, because we all understood the fear and the resolve we had to address what was an evident threat that we had grown into and not addressed for many, many years. And so it was something of a milestone for me to be able to serve our country in its time of need. In Iraq, I did up to 5 tours. We flew a lot of missions, as I was stated in my introduction, to try to maintain security and safety for our ground forces in Iraq, who were constantly under attack. You remember that time. Every day there were headlines. Our people were being harmed. And it was a privilege of my life to try to ensure that they did not get harmed. In Afghanistan, I served with some of the best special operation teams during the surge. The 3rd and 75th Ranger Regiment was working at that time to finally dismantle the human terror networks that the Taliban and in Afghanistan had built. And that was a very rewarding assignment. Unfortunately, I came very close to life-death situations in that assignment. Unfortunately, I had to experience some of that in people that I knew that have lost their lives. But I will tell you, that is what this country has always fell back on, is patriots and people who are selfless. And without them, we don't enjoy our freedoms. And so I'm very much built in that grain. And many of you know, because you have your family members have come forward and served this country in a way that few have.